Children aged over from 5 to 16 spend an average of 6.5 hours a day in front of a screen compared to around 3 hours 10 years ago. So on that, obviously that has massive impacts on a teenager, a young person's physical development. So for example, when you're in the front of a screen, you tend to be hunched over, you tend to be either looking down, if you're on an iPad I guess, or if you're looking at a desktop, you're still hunched over. And so what used to happen is, we see a lot that as you get older, you hit your 30s, your 40s, your flexibility tends to diminish. Now, that's not necessarily an age thing, it's basically a cumulative sitting in a poor position thing. So after a while you're sat there, just gradually your body starts to change and become less mobile, less flexible, and you'll end up with that jutted forward head because that's how you're sitting. You'll get really tight in your hips because you're sat with your hips flexed the whole time, and that has massive impacts on your lower backs and things like that.
So strategies for this. Obviously it's tough, you want to start with children being young, don't let them play in front of the computer, but marry that out. So I know some schools, some forward-thinking schools, have stand-up desks as good examples. You can have that at home for your child if they're going to play on the computer, which is fine obviously, but they could be standing up. It just puts you into a better position.
I think the key is being aware of it. So for example, knowing exactly how much time is spent sat down basically, not moving. That's key. So if you're tracking that, you can then try and develop ways that you can basically increase that movement. So for example, no one sat down for more than 30 minutes before they stand up, walk around, or have to go for a walk. Whatever it is, by actually tracking how much time is spent inactive, it's a very good way of being able to develop more activity.
So it's not for us to say how active your child should be, but what we're suggesting is that if they are inactive playing computer games, then you try and marry it up with the amount of active things that they do, active pursuits that they do, to limit their kyphosis, that type of seating position.
I always think of it, if someone's going to have a chocolate bar, then rather than say don't have a chocolate bar, say, well, have some vegetables. Have some vegetables, so it's a one-to-one relationship between having a chocolate bar, having vegetables. Same thing with a certain amount of time spent sat down on a computer, a certain amount of time spent being active. And so that's what the answer is to the ideal form of activity, is actually just being active.